This will attempt to be a tutorial on getting 3D models into Slitherine's Battle Academy or Pike Shot games using their example packs, and then I'll move on to more complicated examples. But this will require 3ds Max, which is not a free program. Step 1: go to this website, scroll down more than halfway down until you get to this section, and download this pack that Slitherine gave us that has a script and 2 3D models as examples. I downloaded them into my downloads folder and simply unzip the pack into its own folder. Within that pack, you'll find a script, a PDF, and this folder that includes 2 3D models, one of a tank, the Churchill tank, and one of British infantry. Ignore these are some edits I've made. But the first thing you want to do is copy this script into your 3ds Max startup folder, or scripts/startup. So paste it right there, and then next time you start up 3ds Max, what you'll have to do, you won't see any change when you first start up 3ds Max, but you'll have to go to, where is it? Customize user interface. Scroll down, group. Where is it? Is it here? Might be. Sorry, it's categories. Slitherine tools. And this one button you want to add to your quick start bar, or any bar that you want. Holy crap, this is complicated already. Alright, just this step alone was complicated. Let me start over with this. Go to Category, Slitherine Tools. This is the one thing the script gives you, which becomes a button. What you want to do is go over to here to Toolbars, and then drag this onto your Quick Access Toolbar. Now your Quick Access Toolbar is right here. This is the new button, which enables you to export your 3D model into Slitherine's format, which is called S3F. I think that's Slitherine 3D, probably format or something, or file. So save that. Actually, no, not save. Probably just dragging it, you'll be done. So this is how you export the 3D model. Next, what we want to do is actually open one of their examples. So we'll go to into the 3D pack, the 3D art assets, into the British infantry. Now I've added a bunch of stuff, but when you initially open this, you'll probably only see these 2 files. So open up British Infantry Max. You'll get a pop-up that says, do you want gamma correction to be disabled to correspond with setting in the file? Just hit yes, it's fine. I think they turned off some sort of lighting or something. So this is your 3D model, which looks like a little infantry soldier. Now, getting used to working in 3ds Max requires some getting used to. First off, what's very helpful is if you click and hold down the middle mouse button, you can drag views around without editing or changing anything. If you need to, or use the mouse button to zoom in and out by scrolling the mouse wheel. If you want to rotate your view, you can click on this with the left mouse button, and then it enables you to move around and look at your model in a bunch of different ways. So over on this menu, you can see there's BIP, which usually stands for biped. And then on top, if you expand all, right-click and expand all, you can see that the BIP has lots of things underneath it. These are all sorts of different bones. There's the pelvis bone, the spine bone, the thigh bone, the calf bone, the foot bone, etc. And then these are all where animations are stored. If you want to move things around or store animations, what you're doing is moving around the bones. And then what sits on top of that is called the skin or the mesh. And that is what makes up what you actually look at, which is the fatigues and the face and the colors of this British infantry person. So this model is actually animated. If you look down here, this is the animation timeline. If you drag this, you can see all the different animations that are stored on this infantry figure. So what we want to do when we export this 3D model is we don't want to export the bones because the Battle Academy and Pike Shot don't use the bones. We only want to export the skin. The skin is this British infantry part. Now the other thing that's slightly confusing is this guy's holding a gun. So his skin, which is the highlighted blue all around him, actually moves and bends and morphs all to just go along with the bones. Now the gun does not bend ever. It just moves around and waves around while he's running around. So you can see the rifle is right here, but that's attached to all of these different bones, but his skin is here. It's a different part. Now, to export this whole soldier with his gun, subnote. On the tip of his gun is this, what they call an emitter. It will be invisible in the game, but it's got a name, #!0. This is used when the game shoots out effects. If it shoots out a bullet, it comes from this emitter, usually. So we want to also include that. So, to export this 3D model so that it's going to work in Battle Academy or Pike Shot, because this will work just as well in Pike Shot, we highlight the skin, the rifle, and the emitter. Then we click, this is the export add-in that they gave us. And now this took me a whole week to figure out what I was doing wrong in this step. It was very, very annoying. So this pop-up doesn't give you much idea of what it's asking. And on the internet, it says, oh, which meshes, when you're exporting them, do you want to be animated? So you'd think, oh, just click that because that's its skin. I want that skin to move. But clicking it does nothing. You have to double click to set that this mesh is going to be fluid and movable and animated. The rifle and all that stuff, you don't have to click or highlight anything. They're going to be included. But you have to double click that to make sure that that skin is going to be bendable and animated. And then you just hit go. And I'm going to go back to my downloads and put it in the 3D pack, 3D art assets, British infantry. And you want to export it with _0 because it'll ignore the _0 when you actually import it into the game, but it does 0 as the default object and animation that you want to use. So for now, just go with this naming convention. I'll explain why it needs the _0 later. Hit save. I'm going to overwrite the one I've already done. And now it's exporting everything it needs for the game, including its animation, all 825 frames of this model. Alright, it just finished. It didn't take that long, less than a minute, but alright. So hit OK. Now, to get this model into the game, you've got to do a couple steps. So remember, I've just exported this file. British Infantry _0.s3f. I'm going to copy that file and go all the way. Oops. Actually, it's in Documents, My Games, PS Camp. That's Pike and Shot campaigns. Go into campaigns. I've downloaded a bunch of these. You can create your own, but what I did, you can choose anything you want. I chose Fontenoy. I made a copy of it, and I'm going to use this one called Fontenoy Testing. So go all the way to here, right click and paste. That's the first step. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to copy this British Infantry S3F into my Fontenoy Testing Data Battle Units and paste that there. That's what I meant to do. British Infantry _0 S3F. That's the first step. The next step is you're going to have to... this is the 3D model itself. If you open it, you can edit with a notepad and you can see what it is it's just a whole bunch of numbers of vertex and face positions. So I'm going to close this. What you need to go along with it is a description in game of what animation frames it's going to call during certain things. So I'm going to copy this archer's text, paste it here, rename it, and just call it British Infantry. And for now, I'm not going to change much. I'll go into how this file, well, I might as well go into it now. So while it's waiting, the model is going to play frames 0 through 16. When the model is moving, it's going to play frames 17 through 27. And what does that mean? Let's go look back at 3ds Max. You can see there's 825 different frames. So if my model's, while it's moving, going to play 17 through 27, that's going to be from here to here. So right now, obviously, I copied from Archers. It's not going to match up exactly. You'd probably want to change this from 0 to, who knows, 50 something. Maybe 0 to 52. So, I mean, we might as well do that. And then, so this is saying play frames 0 to 52 while it's moving. And then these are different FX. So it's calling FXs, and it's calling, what it's doing is it's calling, I think this is saying it's calling at frame 0, play this FX. At frame 1, play this FX. And what, if you think about in Pike and Shot, usually when something moves across the ground, it's shooting out, not shooting out, but it leaves like a dust trail under its feet while they're moving. I think what this is doing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, shoot out an effect. I think the 13 is calling from emitter number 13, but it could be FX number 13. I'll go into that later. All right, and then this is the animation that it calls when it actually shoots. So it's going to play frame 28 to 38, and in this case, what it's going to do is from emitter 0, put out effect number 1, and from emitter number 1, put out effect number 2. And then SFX is a sound effects. So, and that's what this means. This is the timer for the sound effects. So during the first frame of this animation, play sound effect 308. And then if the figure dies, it plays frame 0 to 0. All right. That's how that file works. You're going to need one every time you set up a new unit. The next thing that's very important is, if you go up one, is the unit textures. So let's go back to the British Infantry. This British Infantry, when I downloaded the example, it came with these two files. This .dds is actually the skin, or the picture of the skin and the colors and everything that makes the guy green. I'm going to copy that into unit textures. Luckily it has the same name. The name has to match, but it doesn't have to have the _0. You can see British Infantry. That looks like the guy. That's going to be, you know, painted all over the guy's skin and body. Again, the unit has _0. That's just telling it it's the basic unit, because sometimes tanks, the _1 can be for the tank that's destroyed. But the name of the skin ignores the _0. So that's step 2. The next step is in this squads CSV. You have to edit. This is the listing of all of the different types of units that are going to be in the scenarios for this mod. So this is ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see these are all the allies, and these are all the Axis. So these are the good guys, and these are the bad guys. This is Team 1, or no, Team 0, and this is going to be Team 1. So we just have to pick one of these. You can either pick one of these and replace it, or you could probably copy the whole line and put it down below. But I think there might be a limit of 64 units to different units to each side. I'm not sure. But what we're going to do right now is replace unit number 3. This is where it says what model, what 3D model is used by unit number 3. And what we're going to do is type British Infantry. Again, you don't need the _0. The program handles that by itself. We go to File, Close. I want to save the changes. Yes. I want to keep it in a CSV. Yes. And then lastly, remember we just amended the 3rd unit. This text is all of the names of all the different units, as well as the name of the whole entire campaign. So this is what's going to show up in the menus when you open up Pike Shot. So we want to go down to unit name number 3 and change this to British Infantry. I don't think you have to edit this info. This might be on the hover text, but I'm not exactly sure. So close this, save changes, and now we should be able to go into Pike Shot. And see our model. Go to play game.